interpretation
What
of
the
how the ability
fuck?
works, or maybe the scenario and how it should be activated is
How is that allowed, man? Yo, today we're gonna be reacting to the most terrifying stand, Gold Experience Requiem. I don't know, Requiem? Requiem? I think it's Requiem. I don't really know how to pronounce it, but once again, non-JoJo fan, never taken it in, never watched it. Let's just see what Meta's got for us. Right, here it is. The most terrifying stand.
The most terrifying stand, Gold Experience Requiem.
What the fuck? It is Requiem. Good shout. Oh my, we already got an ad? Dude, we're like fucking 0.1 second into the video. I swear.
What if I told you that you can use motion array to improve your videos
Fuck are you talking about?
fast? For example,
Let me skip! Let me skip! There you go. I should get YouTube Premium, eh? Fuck. Shit's expensive though.
If there was a video with a mythic hype behind it, it would be this video. The amount of comments debating me,
bro,
or asking me to talk about this stand in this series is ginormous. Due to the complexity of the stand, I've held off for a very long time, but thanks to the homie Jobber and me kind of debating and talking about this stand in private, I think I finally can make a video about this stand proper. Of course, starting off the musical reference to Gold Experience Requiem. I've explained it in a previous video with Chariot Requiem, but basically Amadeus Mozart makes his composure Requiem, but dies before he could finish it. Eventually, later on, one of his students would eventually come to finish it, of course being a parallel to where Polnareff dies with the Requiem arrow, but eventually with the struggle to fight Diavolo, Giorno eventually picks up the arrow and achieves a controlled Requiem, unlike the Berserk stand Chariot Requiem. In the JoJo Bizarre, Rocky even states that Gold Experience Requiem is just the evolution to Gold Experience, kind of showing aspects of a flower and the Requiem arrow. With a musical reference and Rocky's comments out of the way, we can finally talk about GER's powers and abilities, and let me tell you, they are insane. GER is consistently stated in universe and outside, thanks to a couple guides and Araki himself, that it is so powerful it exceeds all previous stats, abilities, and notoriably attack power, and cannot be compared to any previous stands. You can assume that thanks to these guides that GER is the ultimate stand. Gold Experience Requiem stats are also consistently shown to be none, helping the previous fact that its powers and abilities are so far above everything else that they can't be represented. Kind of implying some internet debate that GER has a no limits fallacy. GR even mentions itself that no matter what ability a stand has in JoJo, GR itself will be above it every single time. And with that being said, we can actually scale off of probably the most scaled stand in the entire series, and said
this has to be the most OP stand, dude.
The reason why I'm using Star Platinum is just because he's super consistent, and we actually have some like actual numbers to go off of here, and a lot of statements and stand stats. So with the previous GER is above all previous stands in the series in terms of abilities and powers, this should mean that Star Platinum's city level feat with the sun should mean that GR should be at least at that level or higher. And seeing how the actual statement says, you know, GR is above all stands, it should technically be higher. But for whatever reason, if you are contentious about this argument or even comparing these two stands in general, there actually is some evidence to support that case, but I don't think it's true.
Gold Experience sounds fucked.
Guide, Star Platinum is stated to be the strongest or the ultimate stand, depending on the translation. Some people consider this to be a defining point that Star Platinum is stronger than GR, or, you know, GR is just not that good or hyped up to be, you know, the ultimate stand. Now, there are two ways to look at this situation. The first being that Araki has two different variations of an ultimate stand. One that's physically powerful with speed behind it and that can be physically measured. And the second being a transcendent stand that can't be measured and is above reason and logic and just, it kind of almost works on
that's
its own.
better.
Now, the second way to look at it is kind of long and you have to go through a lot of loopholes and kind of say, maybe. Did Gold Experience Requiem exist during part 6? It's kind of semi-implied that GR does not exist anymore and needs the arrow to come back. For anybody doubting this perspective, look at Killer Queen. Once it got hit with the arrow and gained Bites the Dust, the arrow never left the stand. But with GR, it showed that it's embedded on its forehead, and after Diavolo is defeated, the arrow leaves Gold Experience Requiem and is now in Giorno's hands. Plus, you can also look at Polnareff and how he took away the arrow from Chariot Requiem and then it disappeared. Now, this argument only works if you believe, you know, Killer Queen Bites the Dust is a Requiem, and you completely throw away the fact
that's a fucking
you know, the Requiem arrow is
That's a
eternally
Queen.
tied
That's a
to Gold
Queen
Experience
reference.
Requiem.
It's
And
right.
due to the almost fanfic interpretation,
Seems like the
of
author
the
really
second part,
likes,
I just can't believe it's true. Not to mention
really
the
likes
fact there
music.
are 2 stand stat variations for Star Platinum in Part 6. One from the JoJo Veller and one for an in-part version of it. And the in-part version of it doesn't state that Star Platinum is the ultimate stand. That could imply that either Made in Heaven is now, or Gold Experience Requiem. With all that being said, the destructive capability and the physical strength of Gold Experience Requiem should be above a stand like Star Platinum the World, and can be considered the ultimate stand, quote unquote. It's also stated by Paul.
It seems like it to me, man. Can't be fucking measured.
Like an almighty god, and since the acts of Gold Experience are shown to be equivalent to a god, and depending on your interpretation of the story, this can be true. So on a low ball for GR's AP, city level, on a high ball, mountain level. So it's actually pretty consistent. But if some 15-year-old can blow up a mountain with his stand, I think you should be a tad bit concerned about your well-being on a day-to-day basis.
I'd be fucking scared as shit, man.
GR actually kind of gets into the insane levels in JoJo. Right off the bat, we have GR above infinite speed and most likely immeasurable speed. Both Notorious B.I.G. and Made in Heaven have infinite speed. On top of that, GR was able to...
Okay, yeah, the author really likes music.
Time. And just
a lot of music references.
King Crimson's ability actually is, King Crimson doesn't actually erase time. I think it's kind of a misinterpretation on Araki's part and even us as fans. It's more like he's erasing people's perceptions and perspectives. Dioval even himself confirms that the fact that he actually erases time for everyone else but himself. If this wasn't the case, he would literally be erasing people from the timeline. Now, taking a closer look at Made in Heaven, at a bare minimum, we know he's at an infinite speed. But taking a closer look at it, he might be at an immeasurable speed. Made in Heaven accelerates time to infinity, ending a timeline and creating a parallel one. Pucci has stated and shown to be physically able to keep up with an accelerating timeline. This fits within an immeasurable speed definition, as its speed is beyond linear time. From Pucci's perspective, he is just walking, but from everybody else's perspective, Pucci is moving immeasurably fast.
That's
now, some people would
fucking
actually call that
crazy.
inconsistent because he actually can't move in
Man.
The BC government can help you get from here.
Can I skip this one?
With new support.
Thank you.
stop time. But given on how the context of how it actually works, Made in Heaven speeds up time to be that fast. So logically, if you stop time, you stop Made in Heaven. So basically, Made in Heaven's immeasurable speed was reliant on time. Plus, Made in Heaven's ability was so strong that it was able to shorten time stop. And to add even more proof to Made in Heaven being immeasurable, everything that is explained about his ability fits into the criteria of being immeasurable. Time travel, arriving before you left, traveling to different points in time, beyond linear time. Definitions like this fit underneath immeasurable speeds. That then
God, no shit, man.
Made in Heaven is in this category of speed. But if for whatever reason you don't believe anything I've said so far about speed, at bare minimum with stand stats, Made in Heaven would be an infinite speed stand. And with previous stand stat statements with GR and statements in general, GR would scale above Made in Heaven. And of course, if
because he has none.
Made in Heaven is an immeasurable speed stand, that would also then imply that GR is an immeasurable speed stand on a higher caliber. So with the bare basics
fucking
out
insane.
of the way, GR is insanely powerful. Having the physical capabilities
No doubt.
of possibly destroying a mountain and being at near immeasurable speeds on a mid-ball, not a high ball, of course, because we don't actually know the full limits of GR. This is insane. He, by himself, with no abilities, can basically destroy or kill anything in the context of the JoJo universe within his timeline. Most stands can't even get to a, building level or hell, even light speed without some rough calculations. But the sole fact that GR consistently, through a lot of evidence, can reach these levels is mind-boggling. And that's just basics. We're not even getting into his abilities yet. And since Gold Experience Requiem is the evolution to Gold Experience, that means Gold Experience Requiem has all of his previous abilities. Life Giver, the ability to bestow life into any object.
He really looks like the Gold Experience really looks like fucking
damage that would happen to the creature
That-
automatically gets on reflected back.
The
to the
final
opponent. Life Shot,
villain
the ability
in
to
the
make
Hunter
an
x Hunter
opponent feel
anime.
like they have a bunch of energy to attack the opponent when in reality
Forget his
they are
name.
actually lagging behind, giving Jordan the ability to, kind of rush and attack them. Life Exhaustion, the ability to bestow energy into any life form, making them go through their entire lifespan within an instant. Basically a one-shot ability. Self-healing, just with Life Giver, Jordan has the ability to make any organism, so he can actually make human body parts to heal himself.
ライフセンサー
The ability to
That's
touch an object
fucked.
to feel if there is life in it. But in Gold Experience Requiem, he can just feel it out like if it was key. So you can then infer that all the other abilities got at least some type of boost thanks to the Requiem power-up. He also then gets life laser
God.
beams too. It's the first thing he shows against Diavolo after gaining the Requiem.
Like
so
Superman?
It's really weird. It's not explained at all, but it's there. And finally, his two new abilities when Gold Experience Requiem appears. Infinite Death and Return to Zero. Gold
Infinite
Experience
Death
Requiem
just
has a similar
sounds-
passive ability to revert any attack to zero, and will itself to zero as well. It is technically a form of causality manipulation, removing and preventing an effect and only leaving a cause. There's a specific requirement for it to revert something. It requires the manipulation of the attacker's will and actions right before an attack lands, thus preventing the effect and reverting everything to zero. And defining will within the case
That's
of JoJo means your
insane.
soul/fighting spirit. Return to zero is busted. I'm just gonna flat out say,
Yeah, no
matter what
no
you
doubt.
try to do to this stand, you are not going to affect it at all. Possibly being as fast as Gold Experience Requiem itself being immeasurable, you cannot outspeed the ability. Not to mention the fact that the ability
I'm
in and of
fucking
itself
flabbergasted.
removes the attack. It is probably one of the more busted abilities in all of fiction. Gold Experience Requiem has way too much. Its kit is way too massive. He has everything: self-healing, life-giving, the ability to make your attacks literally useless, having an extremely high AP and massive speed advantage over pretty much a large majority of anime characters is just insane. If you were to encounter Gold Experience Requiem through,
I'm
I don't
like
know,
just-
time travel, or, hopping into alternate universes,
What the?
you're not gonna win. I'm sorry to say this, but you're done. And there's still
You're
more
done.
to talk about. Enter the death loop. Now, from what is shown in the manga, Diavolo doesn't actually die in this death loop. What's actually happening is Diavolo is getting close to death, but then is healed/summoned to a different scenario right before the official death to repeat the process. Thus, no effect has been reached, and he is reverted to zero. Basically, GR is removing the aspect of death from Diavolo infinitely, and in the higher ends of it, the concept of death itself. Now, the interpretation
What
of how
the
this ability
fuck?
works, or maybe the scenario and how it should be activated, is
How is that
a
allowed,
lot
man?
of guides and just people in general just kind of don't agree with each other. Until this day, Araki has never, ever clarified how it works. It's vague as fuck, to the point where it's inconsistent and makes a lot of people think that GR has a no-limit fallacy, which it possibly could have, depending on the scenario you think of, but it just gets really weird. Now, the death loop keeps Diavolo's wills and actions, forcing Diavolo to succumb to every near-death scenario possible. Infinitely, might I add. The safest bet to where Diavolo
Holy
shows up is
shit.
different points in time. He goes from the river to 2 days into the future, possibly, depending on how the ability works. Now, if it's true that he's actually getting teleported to different points in time for the rest of the universe or for the rest of time, this would then give GR a slight passive ability to manipulate time. So add that to everything else.
Yeah,
he can
way
do.
too
Needless
damn
to
much.
say, the infinite death loop is probably one of the most terrifying abilities in all of JoJo. Think of every atrocity a human can do against another human, and then anything the universe can do against a human. It's an unfathomable amount of death. Any evil action that has ever happened to a human has now been bestowed upon Diavolo for the rest of
Dude, that's
It's
like
kind of almost
fucked.
a really weird,
That's
morbid thought process.
that's
to think about all the
insane
scenarios that
torture.
could possibly happen to you. Almost kind of in a cosmic horror type of sense. Now, aside from the death loop being probably one of GR's greatest feats, there is still one more we need to talk about. The fact that GR was able to erase time is definitely a universal plus feat. We know that stands like the World and Star Platinum of the World have the ability to affect time around the world. Due to Made in Heaven fighting Star Platinum of the World and Star Platinum stopping time, and Made in Heaven not being able to react to it, or, being stopped by it, would then imply that Star Platinum's time stop affects the entire universe when he he stops time, therefore implying that a stand like King Crimson, who has the ability to erase all of time within a fragmentary moment, would affect the entire universe, therefore meaning that GR beat a character that could do a universal plus feat. It's said by Araki himself the range
Holy
of time stop
shit.
would go all the way into space, therefore proving even the fact that, Star Platinum can affect the universe like he did against Made in Heaven. On top of that, GR has the ability to stop fate itself, which is an entirely different bag to explain, which Jobber has already done on his channel, so I'll link that down below for you guys to watch. But yeah, GR is just fucking stupid, dude.
Yeah, it sounds fucking stupid, dude.
I don't know.
Sounds fucking insane.
So when it comes to the original universe, GR is by far and definitely the strongest stand. But what happens when he meets the infinite rotation and D4C love train? Thanks to the JoJo Bizarre guidebook, we actually do have an answer to this, vaguely through power scaling. In the guidebook, GR still holds his title as the ultimate stand, still having no stats, while incredibly powerful stands like D4C Love Train and Test Act 4 still have stats, aka their physical stats and abilities being measured. Gold Experience Requiem, ability-wise, with its Return to Zero ability, should scale above the most powerful feats Tusk and Love Train have been able to.
That should.
Both stated to be trans-dimensional. D4C Love Train having barriers being multiversal plus, and Test Act 4 with the infinite rotational energy being able to pierce said barrier with infinite attack potency are getting washed by GER with its Return to Zero. And with the context of the multiverse being involved in part 6 and just being introduced after that part, this would then technically mean a stand like Made in Heaven has, universal plus implications, meaning that since GER is technically within that timeline supposed to be stronger than Made in Heaven, that would technically mean on a mid-ball, GER is multiversal plus, and on a down play is universal plus, which is still insanely powerful.
Fuck, a
It makes
low
total sense
ball
after
universal
2
plus
decades
is
why this stand was considered one of the strongest
crazy.
things in all of fiction, and in my opinion, one of the most terrifying stands. Just pray to something that you never get caught in an infinite death loop. Well, that's gonna be the end of the video.
I hope I don't, man.
Follow me on Twitter.
Well, thank you. That was fucking cool. It's a crazy ability. Okay, holy fuck. You could say that I'm absolutely flabbergasted. That is so OP, dude. So OP. Infinite death loop. Zero, whatever the fuck the zero shit was. Anything that you try to do to him, he could just nullify. Completely nullify. That's ridiculous, dude. Anyways, I'll put a link in the description to all my other JoJo reactions if you guys want to check that out. If you stayed this long, thank you. I appreciate you. Peace out.